Welcome back! Ooh! I don't know if y'all can see that shit, bitch ass nigga. Oh my god. I just see the Odyssey. Holy shit, masterpiece. First of all, wow. I am wowed. I am wowed. I'm just I have a lot to say. I have a lot to say. What a great movie, though. Before you even think, should I go watch it? Go watch it. Don't even fuck the IMAX. I watched it in IMAX because I'm him. But you don't gotta go watch it in IMAX. Just go watch that shit. That shit was I was immersed from like when Travis Scott started hitting that shit. I was immersed immediately. I locked in. That shit was an amazing movie. Golly, I I thought that it was long, but it also filled like every part wasn't boring, if you get what I mean. But before we get into nitty gritty and all that jazz, make sure you like the video, comment down below what you think about the movie, subscribe to the channel, share all that nonsense. Let's get straight into it. I'm on IMDb. They're capping 8.5 cap. It's straight cap. If I had to rate it, I'd give it a 9.5 out of 10. That's my personal rating. This movie is dead as like what can you say bad about it? Like really truly, what can you say bad about the movie? Let's start off with the beginning. Travis Scott comes in. People complain about so many things about this movie. So I'm going to break down all the complaints. They complain about Travis Scott. I noticed it was Travis Scott, but he didn't do bad or he didn't do good. He was just there. He was just a bar like he was hitting the shit on the ground and was like a man, a story, a disguise, a war. He was like a poet, like a back then probably the niggas who performed, that was probably what he was doing. And he did his job. Like I didn't think he did bad. I didn't think he did good. Let's talk about the Greek dialect, how there's no Greek actors. That didn't bother me in the slightest because everybody did their job. There's not one person who acted in this movie that I was like, "Ooh, hold on, there's one. There's one ah one iffy. I'm gonna get to it. There's not one person who acted in this movie where I was like, "Okay, you're taking me out." Two, uh the fact that they don't speak in British accents, completely fine. I don't know. Look, I didn't. I wasn't out of the movie because they were talking regular. I wasn't. I was completely. I was locked in still. Movie was amazing. I'd say the one thing that I can criticize it on, the cuts. There's so many fucking cuts. Like they'll be in a conversation, they'll go cut. Stop it! I'm getting fucking. Oh, I'm about to say I'm getting epilepsy, but there was a literal epilepsy-inducing scene. It was locked. It was live. It was live. I'm not gonna lie to you. When there was Boeing, I think when they got off Cersei's Island, I'm not sure. I don't know when, but they were like Poseidon's cursed us, and then they were fucking rowing the shit out of that boat. The water was going everywhere. All I'm thinking about is if you watch that movie in 3D, you're cooked. That scene cooks you. Epilepsy galore, plus the water, plus the immersion. It's crazy. But um, every criteria that I heard about this movie before going in, it doesn't exist. This movie is simply amazing. I'd say the weakest points of this movie are, I say, I say the fight scenes. I didn't really care too much about the fight scenes. I feel like the fight scenes could have been liver. I'm not gonna lie. The best fight scene was definitely the one at the end. But overall, I didn't really like the one where they're dismantling Troy from the inside and the end fighting scene were good. But every other fighting scene I feel like was kind of okay. It wasn't anything crazy. It was okay. Okay, there's that. That was my only criticism. Now let's just go from the beginning of the movie to the end. Beginning of the movie starts. Travis Scott's banging thing. He's a bard. He's talking about Odysseus' story, how Odysseus took down Troy. They spend 10 years. By the way, I thought he took 10 years to get back home. Imagine this. He spends 10 years on the beach in Troy, and then he spends 10 years coming back. So he leaves Ithaca for 20 years. 20. And I didn't understand it, but it makes sense because Tom Holland was a baby when he left, and he's a grown man as when he comes back. So yeah. By the way, another thing I'm gonna criticize the movie for, that it has no, it can't be criticized for this. All these Greek ass names. I promise you, it's loud as fuck in the theater, and you want me to remember these specific like, bro, uh, Telemachus, Telemachus. I know Telemachus, right? I know Bard. I know Odysseus. Antonius, bro. I promise you, I don't know. I didn't know Robert Pattinson's name until I just read it. I promise you, I didn't know Corey Hawkins' name Polybus until I just read it, or Leonidas, or I remember Sinon. Sinon was an important part of the story, so I remember him. Agamemnon. They said his name way too many times for me not to remember him. Where is he at? Agamemnon. I don't know John Bernthal's name. Where is he at? I promise you, he said it a couple of times. I don't know the name. It's too British, motherfucker. I don't remember. Euphanius? What is this? Eumaeus? Bro, bro, the names are too Greek for me. I couldn't get it off first listen. Maybe I'll get it off second listen or third listen, whatever. But I couldn't understand it because I'm not Greek, so don't bear me on that. But movie starts off. Tom Holland's in the like. By the way, I didn't know they were all in the palace, but after watching the Odyssey, I seen like the actual story of the Odyssey and the differences between the movie and the thing on Twitter. I didn't look up a video because I am gonna watch a video on the Odyssey the movie and the Odyssey the book or the great poem, whatever you want to call it, and see the differences there. But it was just amazing experience from the beginning. I keep trying to go through the movie, but I keep fucking up. So, Travis Scott is the bard. He's talking about the story of Odysseus, and everybody's in the palace. And these are the 100 suitors that Penelope, Odysseus' queen, who Anne Hathaway plays in this movie, is keeping away from. So for 20 years, she kept 100 plus suitors away from the throne. How she did it, I don't know. I really don't know. I couldn't they just killed her? I'm not trying to be crude, but like, if I'm a suitor, I can't just kill her and take the throne for myself. Well, you thinking, oh well, you have to fight the other 99. Well, so be it. Make a faction, kill the rest of them. You know? I don't understand how 20 years none of these niggas pulled a move. And they only pulled a move right when Odysseus came back. Like I don't understand, bro. I truly don't understand. But whatever. Let me next thing is uh the acting. I'd say I'm trying to go through the story, but fuck it. I'm gonna go through just every part of this movie. The writing aspect of the movie I think was amazing. I think the acting was also good. People who complain about Zendaya's acting, Tom Holland's acting, I don't feel like none of them took me out the movie or anything. None of them did bad. Niggas was talking about how Tom Holland was the worst actor in this. On God, he wasn't. On God, he wasn't. And he wasn't even the worst actor in his couple. On me in his husband and wife relationship, he wasn't the worst. On me. Zendaya was kind of like a nothing burger. I didn't feel anything from her, and I also didn't not like her. I kind of just thought she was okay. I think Tom Holland did a good job. I think Patterson did a good job. I think Odysseus did a good job. Serkey, niggas is glazing the fuck out of Serkey's performance. I think she did okay. Penelope, I think Anne Hathaway, I think she gotta take the movie. She's number one in this movie. She acted her fucking tits off. Holy shit, Anne Hathaway. All I've seen from Anne Hathaway is the Princess Diaries. Holy shit, you've grown up. Anne Hathaway, you are no longer a princess. You are a queen, and you've grown the fuck up. Holy shit. Acting incredible. I think the storylines, I want to go through each thing. So I like the way they told the story, by the way. The way where it's like he talks about it in the past. Like you don't get the story of like Odysseus goes to Troy and then he tries to leave Troy and that's no. Like they tell the story in a unique kind of way where it's like Tom Holland is there and he's hearing stories. He doesn't hear the story about Troy until like halfway into the movie. So he doesn't really know what happened. Because you hear the stories of Troy and what happened and whatnot, but you don't hear the stories of Troy like for real. And then John Berthal's like, I'll tell you what happened from the inside, and then it goes into John Berthal's perspective, and holy shit, that's such an amazing cinema scene and anything. But on God, how did they fall for that shit? On God, like what? They just took the horse into their shit, and then they died from 5, 6 people. Also, when he was leaving the island, when he was Matt Damon was leaving the island, I don't know why, but this movie is so weird. It feels rated R to me, but it's like it wasn't rated R. Like it feels like they tried not to make it rated R. I don't know how to explain it because in the middle of the movie, not in the middle of the movie, but right when they're leaving Troy, right? All his men gather and he has one final speech. He greets Agamemnon. He gets up. He's going to his men. And you know what he says? You know what he says? 10 years on this fucking beach. It was so odd. It just took me out the movie for a second. I was like, why did he say it like that? 10 years on this fucking beach. Let's go home. I was like, why did he say? I don't know. It just took me out a little bit. But anyways, I'm gonna go through all the catastrophes. So the Troy thing shot beautifully well. I seen how they left Sin on there to present it as a gift. He dies, sucks, but boy, it sucks to be him. It really sucks to be him, and he sacrificed himself for the win against Troy. And Tom Holland, Matt Damon says it in the movie. He says that Agamemnon he doesn't give a fuck about Helen of Troy or whatnot. He's only doing this for the trade routes. Matt Damon literally says that in the Odysseus says that in the movie. He says it in the movie. So we know this movie, this war don't mean shit. But like after 10 years of sitting on the beach, this nigga's sick and tired. He's like, bro, like I've been on this beach for so long. Can I just go home? So he figures out the Troy plan. He builds the Trojan horse. Then everybody leaves the beach. They leave it there. The Trojans come out. They get the horse. They bring it inside. Put it right next to their other statue of Athena. And so the horse and the Athena statue are there. Odysseus and the crew. They wait until nighttime. Then they hop out of the thing. Their legs don't work, obviously, but they get over it really quick. And then they just take out all the surrounding guards, slowly make their way up to the gates, open up the gates, which I'm gonna say plot hole here because I don't understand how Agamemnon was already waiting at the door. Wouldn't the guards on the wall notice? Well, you killed the guards on the wall. So they're saying between the time that they killed the guards on the wall and the time they took to open up the fucking gate, Agamemnon, the whole army was already over there. So that means they had to have been not being seen from the people on the wall because if they're seen, the plan is cooked. So if I'm a soldier on the wall, I shouldn't be able to see them, and then I get killed. So you're saying I wouldn't be able to see the soldiers, I die, and the 2 minutes it took for you to open up the gate, they came in 2 minutes? Plot hole, but it's an understandable plot hole because it's not that I'm just being particulate, but I was like, that don't make sense. How they got here so quick. They raided the fucking town. They killed everybody in that bitch. And you know soldiers. They've been waiting 10 years on the beach. They raped and pillaged that entire fucking city. They killed everybody. And so you understand now why Odysseus has that guilt. Because they fucking killed the city and they broke Zeus's law doing it. They didn't fight a straight up fight. They didn't do it correct way. They lied, cheated, and stole their way into that, and they broke Zeus's law. Zeus's law is basically the law of equivalent exchange. It's just I don't do to me as I would do to you because, or treat a stranger like how you would treat a god because it could be a god in disguise, you know? Like just treat others how you want to be treated, basically, but treat like even people you don't know because they could be a god in disguise, you know? So you're supposed to, it's open hospitality, open culture. So if somebody comes to your house, you let them stay there because it's Zeus's law. You get what I mean? So that's basically how the whole world works. So that's the Trojan part. So they leave Troy, and Agamemnon goes left, and Damon Odysseus goes right. Agamemnon gets home right away, but that was a curse. He gets home, his beautiful wife, the twin sister of Helen of Troy, kills him in his sleep. That was a little bit. Oh shit, I didn't know that was gonna happen. So he dies in his sleep, naked, and like after 10 years of waiting for some pussy to get back home to, the fucking wife kills him because she was in a relationship with somebody else, and so the brother dies, and then his brother Agamemnon dies, and his brother takes over, who I forgot his name, John Bernthal in the movie. He says his name. He says father of who, son of who, brother of whatever. I couldn't hear it. It was too loud in the theater. Like the audio was crisp as a bitch, and it really like shook me a couple of times. The couple of times it shook me. The first island they get to where they meet the Cyclops. Oh my God, Polyphemus, Polyphemus or Polyphemus? I don't know. Polyphemus sounds a lot better. But this is when Sea of Monsters kicked into my brain. I was wondering who is that? And then before that nigga turned around, I was like, oh my God, it's the Cyclops. Sea of Monsters. Because all I seen on Twitter is how niggas was talking about how Percy Jackson's Sea of Monsters and Odysseus is the same story, basically. It's not really the same, but it's kind of the same because Percy Jackson takes the liberties of the of Odysseus' journey home, and he kind of brings that in. But yeah, so they go through the first thing, and then Polyphemus the Cyclops, who is basically just he's a shepherd. He has sheep and ram, and he brings them out and brings them in every day. And so the men try to build a plan. When he opens the gate in the morning, they try and go escape, but he stops a couple of them and eats them. He literally eats them. Scary as fuck in the movie. I was like, oh shit, heart got a pounding a little bit. So they devise a plan, and then they stab his ass so he can barely see. And so they put this thing on their back so when he touches it, because he opens the gate for the sheep and the ram to get out of his cave, and when he opens it, all of them stop going out. So the soldiers start running out on their hands and knees, and they have this little thing on their back. So if his fingers graze it, that he won't feel them, and he'll assume that they're sheep. So they trick this guy so he can't see, and he's not gonna feel them. So they're gonna escape successfully, and nothing's gonna happen to them. Right? Wrong. This is a movie. Everybody escapes. First of all, they did a couple of escape plans. A lot of people escape a couple of times. A lot of people escape a couple of times. Then finally, everybody escapes. And then everybody finally is out the caves. They lost a couple of soldiers. It's sad, but you still have three ships. You still have three ships. Guess what the fuck happens? Guess what the fuck happens? Odysseus just like right when he's leaving, and then the Cyclops is like crying in pain. He grabs an arrow and fucking hits that nigga in the eye. For what? For what? You was already out of the fucking cave. You was already out. There was no reason whatsoever for Odysseus to do that, other than plot. And so they get chased. They get to their boat. A couple people die. All three ships leave the Cyclops Island. Now these niggas think they're really cursed. The sea is going against them. Every wave is like, oh my god. And obvious because the Cyclops is the son of Poseidon, and Poseidon is the god of the sea. And so, if you didn't know that, come on, step your game up, bitch. Poseidon's the god of the sea. So because they angered Cyclops, he prayed to Poseidon, and now their journey is cursed. It's fucking cursed. Next island they go to, they finally see land after, I don't know, days on the sea. These niggas is running out of supplies. Everybody's fucking pissed. Finally, they see land. They see land, and boom. Who do they get to? The Lastrygonians, the giants. I didn't know these were the Lastrygonians until I went on Twitter, and then I realized they were the Lastrygonians. Lastrygonians are basically like giants, kind of like half giants. But I didn't know it was them because they were just armored up in this movie. So they go onto an island. They meet this little girl. They try asking her for help. She just starts screaming everywhere. Scream, ah! And she runs away. As she's running away, you think, oh, what happened? Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. These niggas start walking out like. These niggas start walking out like Zoro, Sanji, and Luffy, Arlong Park, if you remember that shit. Aura! Straight aura start walking out, and then you think, oh, these niggas is regular soldiers. Then they start getting closer and closer and closer, and they huge as fuck, armored up. So then they try to escape. Some of them get caught, some of them lose, some of them win, some of them die, some of them get out. Only one fucking boat goes. The two he had three boats, two of them perish, and the Lacegonagams take them out, and then they have one boat left. And so now they have one boat left, the main ship of Odysseus, and shit is scary now. Shit fucking sucks. So instead of going back out into the sea and testing their waves, they're like, all right, let's just keep going down on this island to see if we can find anything else. So they go down on this island. They go, they go, they go, they go. Finally, now, now this is the worst. Now this is the worst. They get to Xerxes Island, and immediately when they said Xerxes, I was like, "Holy shit, you're cooked, buddy. You're cooked." But there's a bunch of red flags immediately. They come into Xerxes' home. She runs away. She thinks she's about to get raped and pillaged because that's what niggas do in Greek times. And so she's like begging, "Please don't, please. I'll cook you food. I'll do whatever. Just don't, please." That's what she's acting like. She cooks them food, and then these niggas start like eating like real demonically. And I was like, "What happened?" They didn't mention it was Xerxes Islands at this point. Then she just starts turning them into pigs. Uh, like literally physically turning them into. She puts her hand inside their mouths and starts stretching them out like literal like ugh. Shit was disgusting. Turn them all into pigs. I don't think they used CGI for that scene. That shit was disgusting, dude. Or didn't use it a lot. This shit was disgusting. Turn them into pigs, and then Matt Damon is out hunting because he's like, if you guys get food or not, I'm gonna hunt. So he hunts, he kills a deer, and oh, I forgot about a thing. Odysseus does this thing, right? Whenever he strings his bow, he flicks it once to let his enemies know that he's coming. It's straight aura. So he does this a couple of times throughout the movie. I didn't know why he did it, but it's straight aura. It's just aura. He strings the bow and then he does this one time to let the enemy know he's coming because he doesn't want it to not be a fair fight. And so that's what you think. That's what he does the whole movie. But you gotta clock your rewind your mind a little bit. He fucking tricked the Trojans and he killed them all. So now you're understanding why he feels guilt because this is a man of honor and he threw away his honor to go back home. But now he's like, I don't know if I want to go back. But let's get to it. So he strings his bow, flicks it, kills the deer, finally finds the deer. The deer is a man. So then he realizes, oh shit, my crew is in trouble. So he runs back to the ship. He gets the dagger. He runs all the way into the house. So he's talking. The pigs are there. The pigs are literally his men. Oh, by the way, before the men turn into pigs, Xerxes asks the men, put your armor outside. They're taking their armor off outside, but because they're so hungry and distraught, they don't see the fucking other armor there that's been there for like years or something. There's just armor sitting outside her house. Red flag, nigga. I don't care how hungry I am. As soon as I see that, I'm waking up. Whoa, this bitch killing niggas and turning them into animals. That's not gonna come into my mind. But where are the people who armor this is? You know what I mean? So what's his name comes back in? Odysseus. He meets Circe. They're having a conversation. He's just begging him like, I need to see my man. I changed them to who they are. He's begging her to change the back, and she turns the back and she says this. I didn't understand this when I seen this on Twitter, but she says, "Go back into your disguises." So I know all the feminists are gonna eat that up. She's basically saying men are pigs, and go back into your disguises. You're not a real human. You're really a pig. But go back into your human disguises. The men leave. They leave Xerxes Island. So you think, oh, that's it. Cap. They go to Hades. They go to Hades. They meet Sinon. They meet Agamemnon. And that's pretty much it. Those two they meet. And then they have to run away. And they lose even more soldiers. So they're just losing soldiers at this point. But then Agamemnon tells them, you have two options. You can either get killed by Scylla or you can get killed by the whirlpool. So he picks Scylla, which is like this spider-like flying creature, which I feel like was the worst part of the because Odysseus goes through tragedies. I feel like this is the worst part because it kind of just happened, and I didn't feel as though it was anything like I didn't like it was scary for sure and it was random as hell, but it wasn't like I feel like all the other ones were way crazier than that. Then they finally get into the last island, I think, and this island where it was easy to get to. It was where Apollo, the sun god, kept his cattle, and he told his men, "Don't kill the cattle, or we're fucking doomed. We're never getting back home." Right? So they held on for a very long time, for a very, very, very long time, and then finally they eat it and they do it away from Odysseus' eyes, but they're starving. So I understand. The whole crew, they finally they waiting days and days on this island to get off. This is after they eaten the fucking sun god's cattle. So you know they're cooked. So then they get into the storm. So now Zeus don't fuck with them because they broke his law. Poseidon don't fuck with them because they broke they fucked his son over. And Apollo don't fuck with him because of the sun god shit. And then Hades as well because you escaped from the underground. I don't know. So you got all these gods against you. So it's crazy work. It's crazy, crazy work. So then they get out of this island because it was so easy to get on the island that there was no wind to get off. So they finally get off the island. Immediate storm. Immediate storm. The storm is storming, and then the whole crew probably dies at that point, and then he washes up on Calypso's island, and he's on Calypso's island for 7 years. All she does is have sex with them and eat lotus flower for 7 years. But during these 7 years, Odysseus. By the way, you know what's crazy to me? How he was doing all this to because like in the book, I don't know anything about the book, but I think in the book he fucked all these girls that he was like he fucked Xerxes, he fucked what's her name that I just said, Calypso, and then he goes back home to his wife talking about I missed you so much, bitch. Nigga, he was just cheating on her like a little bit ago. Fuck is you talking about, nigga? But I digress. Let's get back into it. Lands on Calypso's island. Calypso drugs him with the Lotus flower. I immediately recognize that because, Percy Jackson, Lotus Casino. If anybody knows, they know. And so I immediately remember that shit. So the lotus flower, and then her name's Calypso, and she's keeping him on this island for 7 years. But during that whole time, Athena's in his ear. The whole journey, by the way, Athena's in his ear, talk to him because in Athena's temple, they killed a little girl that looked like a baby Zendaya, right? And so Athena shows herself to Odysseus as a grown-up Zendaya to like remind him of the baby that he killed because they had this little girl tied up in her arms while they were in Troy. While they're in Troy, as a little girl, arms like this, and they cut her fucking head off. They cut her fucking head off. So you know he's feeling his guilt. He doesn't want to go back up. I forgot. The sirens. So I think this is after Hades. They're leaving Hades underworld. They're doing the siren shit. So then Odysseus doesn't know what he wants at this point. He doesn't know what he wants. This is before Scylla, Whirlpool, and Sun God, and Calypso. This is right after the underworld. The sirens. So he tells Agamemnon is telling him his journey of what he's gonna face. So he tells tell the men to put wax in their ears. So the men put wax in their ears, and then it kind of just goes kind of numb, like deaf kind of type of sound, so you can barely hear what's going on. So you can barely hear what's going on, and Odysseus chooses not to have his ears waxed. He says, "Tie me to the mast so that I can like hear it," because apparently the siren song lets you hear everything that you want to hear. So he hears it, and he realizes, like he didn't think he wanted to go back home, but this solidifies it. It tells him of all the things that he wants and dreams of and wishes he never did and wishes he never people that he never met or things that he never did. So this is happening, and so he wishes that he doesn't want to go home. So then they go through this journey, obviously, and that's why he's fucking up everything, and that's why he's doing this, and that's why he hit Calypso or the Cyclops. That's why the last Organagans happened, the Sirens, all that shit. And then now he's at Calypso. He's been there for 7 years, but during these 7 years, Athena is there, like talking to him, telling him, remember your crew, remember the people. But you gotta remember, all his crew is dead. But he's like getting the remains of his old ship and bringing it onto the shore. And so Calypso sees this, and after 7 years of prison, she's kind of like, okay, we'll let him go now. We'll let him go. And so she says the only way to go back home is if you give your body to Poseidon. He builds this weak ass raft. He lays down and he just gives his body to Poseidon, and somehow he washes up on the beaches of shore the shores of Ithaca, his home. So he finally gets home after a 20-year mission, 10 years of Troy, 10 years of the journey home, and he's finally home. Let's talk about Telemachus, the prince, Tom Holland. Great job in this movie. Telemachus, this whole movie, is trying to become king, but he wants to find out what happens to his father. He wants to find out what happens to his father, so he asks his mother. His mother says this, that, and the other. They have arguments. I feel like the dialogue between the mother and son, like, were like perfect. Anne Hathaway and Tom Holland, those scenes where they were doing to like where they were like going back and forth as the mother and son, I think were the best scenes in the movie. Like they weren't the best, but the best like actor scenes. Those are the best. The best scene is the end of the movie, which is like I think one of the best endings that I've ever seen in my life. But Telemachus basically doesn't know what to do. He wants to figure out his father's past. He doesn't know what he wants. He knows that his father isn't dead, right? He knows that his father isn't dead because he can feel it in the winds. But it's been 20 years since Odysseus has been gone, so he's just there. The mother is fighting against the suitors. The suitors are like pressuring her to pick a candidate to be king, and so the main one is Antinous, which is Robert Pattinson. Where's he at? Robert Pattinson. So Robert Pattinson is the main one. He's the main one out of both of them. And so he's kind of like pressuring her, but he's also lying. He's a scumbag. He's a cap king. So he says that Odysseus tells him to stay at home because he wants him to watch over Tom Holland and the throne and his wife and all that. That's what he spins it as. But you get a backstory, and so Sinon is the shepherd, is the son of the shepherd of Antinous' house, and so Antinous gets the fucking war thing, but he switches it with Sinon, and then he makes Odysseus think that he was trying to take Sinon's place, and that Sinon wasn't trying to, or Sinon was trying to take his place, or something like that. You know what I mean? But in reality, Antinous is a pussy that he really, really wants not to go to this war. So he acts like he's trying to switch with Sinon, and so Sinon goes to war and he dies, and so during that, Sinon gives the little token that you pick. Like it's like straws or whatever that you pick. If you get the certain one, you have to go to war. And so Antinous makes Sinon go to war in his place. But then Antinous is capping, like he tried to take the position, but Odysseus forced him to stay because he didn't know if he was going to return home. So he wanted Antinous to take the throne. That's what Antinous is saying. But Antinous, I want to tell you something. He's a bitch. He's the biggest bitch of bitches. He's the biggest bitch of all time. I fucking hate his guts. He did a perfect job playing a bitch in that movie. And so he's like the whole movie like plotting against the queen. He has the fucking the slaves, the queen's like maids or slaves, whatever they call them, like in his ear telling them what she's doing all day, what she wants, this, that, and the other, and so whatnot. So he has his eyes and ears in the castle. They eat every there. They eat there every night. There's this like a bunch of like shit going on. So Antinius just know that he's a piece of shit, and so he lies about what's going on. So and he also wears like heavy armor all the time. And I didn't know why, but I seen a tweet. It's because this nigga's a pussy. You know, he tries to front like he's some sort of real like man with honor, when in reality he's just a gigantic pussy. So it's tough, but that's what he does. That's literally his whole stick, the whole movie. And so that's what Antinous is on. And so Antinous is like basically antagonizing Telemachus. And Telemachus is trying to save his father's like the blind servant, Eumaeus, which John Leguizamo, I don't know how to say his name. I know him though. John Leguizamo plays. And so this guy played an amazing character. He did an amazing character. But this guy right here, right? Um, uh, the biggest issue I had with him is the fact that it's like he was blind, but like I don't know how he was allowed to just do whatever he want. Like he was in the castle, and then like the dog Argus. Oh, another heart breathing moment. Odysseus picks Argus as his hunting dog 20 years ago, and he hunts with it. And so the dog is slowly dying, and so they kick him out of the castle and leave him outside, like the steps of the castle, to die. And he doesn't die. And then Odysseus finally comes back, and he meets the dog, and he pets the dog, and the dog passes away. Finally, after 20 years without their master, the dog recognizes Odysseus and dies. That was a little heartwarming scene, super heartwarming. But Leguizamo is kind of like the Odysseus is like servant. He was like not blind back then, but he's blind now. He kind of is like Tom Holland's mentor, kind of not his mentor, but kind of like somebody who tells him what Odysseus went through, the stories of Odysseus, who he was, what it was like that. He still believes in his master. Like Odysseus is his master. He's never gonna let that go. He's in charge of Odysseus' hunted dog. He stays in the castle. He knows which servants to trust, which not to trust. All that jazz, right? All that jazz. And so the biggest issue I had with him was in the movie when he was trying to get Argus and he's blind and he's trying to stop them from everything, and then he like Tom Holland fights Corey right here, Polybus. Tom Holland fights Polybus, and Polybus is about to kill him, and then Anne Hathaway's like, "Please don't kill my son." And Antinous steps up as this virtue type of guy, but it's really trying to further like get the further of the queen. Like, you see, I'm not gonna kill your son. I'm not like all these other suitors. I say that to say, as soon as Telemachus realizes, okay, I have to go to Sparta to see what happened to my father. I need to see what happened because he hears a story of the survivors of the Trojan War getting to Sparta, and he wants to hear it from their own ears. So then he travels to Sparta, and then Robert Pattinson hears of this, so he sends people to kill him. And so this is at this point Odysseus is and what's it called, has started his journey back to Ithaca, and Telemachus is coming back to. He goes to Sparta. He meets the brother of Agamemnon, who's now the king. He meets Helen of Troy. Helen of Troy, wonderful job, by the way. I don't know why people were saying she was bad. Um, she did a good job. Like, there was no acting that was bad in this movie. Not a single person. Not a single person. But yeah, they go to Sparta. Agamemnon's brother, John Bernthal, the Punisher, he basically tells the story of what happened inside the Trojan horse, basically everything about Odysseus. He doesn't know if Odysseus is dead, but he tells Tom Holland, Telemachus, go back home and become the king. Tell your mother to become to pick a suitor, and then what's it called? what's it called? You'll kill that one on one, and then you'll become the king. That's what he tells him. So Telemachus comes back, and as he's coming back, he gets attacked. Odysseus is there. He saves him as a beggar. He doesn't tell him who he is. He tells him that he's a veteran of the Trojan War. So. So like Odysseus is hiding his thing, and you were like, why don't they recognize him? It's been 20 years. How could they recognize his voice or his face? It's been 20 years. Tell me if you recognize someone. If it's been 20 years since you last saw them, no internet, nothing like that. You don't know what they look like anymore. And this nigga looks disheveled. This nigga looks disheveled. His beard is grown out. His hair is all over the place. He looks disheveled. He's wearing these gray robes, whatnot. So he meets Tom Holland, and then because you know how the dog dies as soon as they sees Odysseus as the beggar, Tom Holland realizes, oh, you're Odysseus, you're my father, and I kind of just got a flashback to Luke, I am your father or something. I never watched that, but that's what that reminded me of that scene. So I'm thinking, oh, okay, so what's about to happen now? I don't know what's gonna happen, and so I'm thinking, is is Tom Holland gonna do this? Like, is he gonna like announce that Odysseus is back? No, they don't do it. So what they do is Tom Holland goes to Anne Hathaway and he tells Anne Hathaway, "Hey, you have to pick a suitor. You have to pick a suitor. Pick one." And then so they do this little scene, and then the next day she says, "Hey, everybody who wants to shoot me, come tomorrow and beat my challenge, and you shall become my king." Basically, so she lines up uh the axes and she gets the bow and she says, whoever can string this bow and split the arrow through all these axe heads will become the king. And you know, the only person who could ever do that is Odysseus. So everybody's trying. Everybody's trying. Nobody can even string the bow. Forget about doing the arrow through. Nobody can string the bow. So I want you to understand. We all know Odysseus is in here, but nobody else knows. This is the biggest aura moment in the entire movie. He gets the bow, right? He's try stringing it, he fails. But before he does it, you know that scene where he's like, "Somebody get these beggars out of here." When Robert Pattinson does that, um, that's when Odysseus is like, everybody tried, and Antinous is like, well, none of us can do it, so pick one amongst all, right? And then Odysseus stands up, he's like, I haven't, and he laughs at him. He's like, somebody get these beggars out of here, these plate clickers. He was being very fucking, he was doing a great job of being unlikable. And so Odysseus grabs the bow, he tries the first time, he fails. And so Penelope turns around and Hathaway, and she thinks, oh, Odysseus never coming back. It sucks, but whatever. But then he grabs it again, and then he finally flicks it. So people are like, what? And then as soon as he does, he grabs the blow, and then he flicks it. And then as soon as he does, Antinous he fucking wakes up because, as I told you, Odysseus does this every single time. He plucks the bow, and then he flicks it to let his enemies know that he's coming. It's a sign of respect. Antinous, as soon as he hears that, he runs to the door, but the doors are locked. The doors are locked. Niggas don't know what's going on. And then Polybus, whatever, Craig Hawkins right here, he turns around and he's like, it's Odysseus. And right as he's about to say it, fucking dies from an arrow. So then he just starts plucking arrows. Boom, boom, boom. And it was the best fight scene. I'm not even going to explain any more of that, but it was an amazing fight scene. It was so fucking live. Overall, this movie, just amazing. That ending, and then Telemachus going up and fighting the guy who's throwing the weapons down, and then drops his father down a sword. He doesn't kill all of them, but he kills enough of them to the rest of them are scared, and they start bowing down to him. And then he sits on his throne, and then he tells Penelope that we're gonna go on exile. I have to go west for my men and follow the chasing sun. And then Telemachus becomes king, and that's the end of the movie. I think I have no notes. I have no notes. I enjoyed every second of this movie. I I love everything. The acting was amazing. The writing was amazing. The characters were amazing. The way that they told the story, not like everything wasn't linear. It wasn't like this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. It was like, okay, this is happening, but remember this happened. Oh, this happened, but remember this happened, and then this happened, and this happened. Like, I like the way they told the story. I like the directing. I love the acting. I loved everything about this. Go see this now. You don't need to watch an IMAX 70 millimeter if you're broke. If you're broke and you can't find one, but if you have the energy, if you have the time, if you have the money, $20. I bought my shit for $20, my ticket. So, boy, Go watch that bitch. Even if it's front row, I watched that bitch at front row. It was still amazing. It was still amazing. And by the way, I was immersed as a bitch in the front row. I ain't gonna lie to you. But that is the end of this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you love the video down below. You just gotta click the like button. Love it, L for love. Like the video. Comment down below what you thought of the movie. Share this video to whoever. It was simply phenomenal. Thank you guys so much for watching. Peace.